Welcome to the Never Too Early Fantasy Football Podcast, where it is never too early for fantasy football. My name is Jeff.
I'm Alex.
As always, thank you for downloading, listening, liking, and commenting on our podcast videos. Please join our community by subscribing to us on the socials. Our handle on all platforms is at N2E Fantasy. We are also available on all major podcasting apps by searching N2E Fantasy. Alex, what do we have on today's show?
On this episode of the Never Too Early Fantasy Football Podcast, we are previewing Week 12 of the 2024 season. Jeff, let's get kick-started right here. It is Bimageddon again, Week 12. Falcons, Bills, Bengals, Jaguars, Saints, and Jets are all on bye.
And
So,
Alex, you know
definitely
why they call this Bimageddon, right? Because there's 6 teams on bye. So this is the first time this year that 6 teams have been on bye. The second time is week 14. So there's no bye weeks in week 13 because of the Thanksgiving holiday. So we have Bimageddon, no byes, Bimageddon. Good times.
I wish they'd spread it out a little bit more evenly, but we are going to be talking about these matchups one by one, and we will talk about potential guys to throw out there if you have someone on bye week this week. Let's get started with the Amazon Thursday night matchup. Steelers at the Browns. Jeff, who are you taking in this matchup, and who are you starting and sitting?
So I'm going to go ahead and start Russ, Najee, Pickens, Mike Williams. If you're desperate, you might be desperate in a Bimageddon week. You can start Freiermuth as well. You can start Winston, Chubb, Tillman in this one, Judy after a strong performance in Njoku. So you can pretty much start almost anyone. Browns are going to have a harder time against a very stout Steelers defense. And for that reason, give me the Pittsburgh Steelers.
All right, I am also taking the Steelers in this matchup. Najee, you probably have to play, and Pickens, you have to play. Yeah. You might have to play Freiermuth because a lot of teams on bye. You might have your tight end out, and there's some injuries out there to keep an eye on with Ferguson and with Kittle. So Freiermuth, someone you could potentially start, and Njoku, someone you potentially start. I agree with you on the Brown starts, although I'm not sure if I would feel comfortable with Chubb. I don't think he's quite fully there yet, and the Steelers' defense has been quite formidable, holding Derrick Henry to a low 63 yards last week. So
people may
uh,
have missed it, though, that the Browns head coach said that he limited Chubb's workload last week to conserve him for Thursday night. So it does seem like they plan on using him a good amount this week.
I just don't know how successful that will end up being. Okay, we can move on to another divisional matchup, the Dallas Cowboys at the Washington Commanders. I feel like CD Lamb is really the only one you could feel like you have to start for the Cowboys. For Washington, I think Jaden Daniels bounces back a little bit this week. Terry McLaurin, I would start. Brian Robinson Jr., I would start. Eckler, I would potentially start as well. Ertz, I would start too. And give me Washington over Dallas. Washington is a much better team, surprisingly, at this point in the season. Don't know if you would have said that before the season started, but Dallas' season's pretty much over. So give me Washington.
Yeah, I'm going to go ahead with Washington as well. And I would love to see the Cowboys give Trey Lance a little bit of run here. But, Alex, this will give Washington their 8th win on the season. So it'll be 8-4. And if they split the rest of their games, they would be roughly 11-7 after that. So, or they'd be anywhere between 10 and 11 wins, and that should be enough to get them into the postseason.
We'll see. It's going to be a tight race for the NFC. There's a lot of good teams this year, and outside of this matchup, they could struggle down the stretch. I don't know. We'll see.
All right, so we can hop over to the Lions at the Colts. Sorry, read that completely wrong here. But in this matchup, I'm starting all the Lions. Like, I don't have to list them out. I'm starting Laporta if he's playing. But the Colts, you could go ahead and start Anthony Richardson in this one, especially after the strong performance. You can start Jonathan Taylor. You could start Josh Downs, Michael Pittman, and that is probably about it from the Colts side of the ball. I expect the Colts to actually be pretty dominated in this game, so I am going to go with the Lions in this matchup.
I'm also going the Lions in this matchup, and I think we're still monitoring whether Sam Laporta plays. I know he was out last week, but give me the Lions, and I agree with your starts.
All right. So the next matchup is the Chiefs at the Panthers, and I'm going to let you go ahead and break this one down, Brad.
Man, I guess you start the Chiefs defense in this one. Don't know if
fair.
Pacheco's back or not. If he's back, you probably want to play him. Otherwise, play Kareem Hunt. Chuba Hubbard, would definitely play him. And I think this would be a good week to speculatively play Hopkins and Worthy for Kansas City. Don't think Bryce Young is someone that you want to start. And I think that's pretty much it. Kelsey, you might feel like you're obligated to start. And I think a decent fill-in for this week is Sanders, the tight end for the Panthers as well.
Do you like either Adam Thielen or Xavier Legette this week?
If you have to play them, then sure, but I wouldn't say that I
Armageddon.
necessarily like them.
Yeah, I'm going to go ahead with the Chiefs in this matchup too, and I agree with your starts, but we'll also see Jonathan Brooks for the first time in his NFL career this weekend.
Tough matchup for his first game.
Hey, it's the NFL. They're all pretty tough.
Oh, well, this matchup's pretty tough to decide. Vikings at Chicago. Who you got in this, Jeff?
So this one was one of the easier ones for me. I'm going to go with the Vikings. The Bears still haven't figured out what's wrong with their offense, but I think you can start Caleb Williams. I think you can start DJ Moore. I think you can start you can start Swift. You can start, and I would still be very cautious of chasing that one big catch. And then TJ Hawkinson, I feel like he's incorporated enough into the offense to be able to start. But give me the Vikings.
I'm also going the Vikings in this one, and I agree with your starts here.
All right. So next matchup is the Patriots at the Dolphins. Who do you have and who are you starting?
It's a little bit tougher of one. I'm picking the Dolphins in this one. I think this is closer to an even pick either way. I think it's probably closer to a 50-50 when it comes to outcome, but Miami is playing better of late, and I think that they're just a little bit better than New England is at this point. But you have to start Achane. You have to start Hill, starting Drake May for the Patriots and Stevenson. I think Jonnu Smith is now pretty much a start at this point, especially with all the bye weeks, same as Hunter Henry. That is pretty much it for me. I don't feel good about Tua, but you can play him in a pinch.
Yeah, I mean Tua has been pretty automatic lately. And you went the Dolphins in this matchup, Alex?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna go the Dolphins in this matchup as well. Miami is playing like their backs are against the wall, and that does tend to make for some fun football, in my opinion.
Okay, Buccaneers at Giants. Who do you have here, Jeff?
So, for this particular matchup, I would go ahead and start Baker. I would start Evans if he's back. I would start Bucky Irving and then Rashad White. That's the order that I would start them in. You can start Cade Otton, of course. On the Giants side, I probably would start Tyrone Tracy and Neighbors, and that's about it. If you're desperate, Wan'Dale Robinson could be a good check down for Tommy DeVito. But give me the Buccaneers in this matchup. I think they're going to have a ton of firepower, and I think they're going to beat them pretty handily.
I agree. I'm going Buccaneers as well, and I agree with your starts.
Is that your new strategy? Is just to copy what I pick, and so you can't fall any further? behind.
We've gone back and forth, and you've copied me the same amount. So I think this is just an easier picking kind of week.
Yeah, it's pretty chalky in my opinion, but that brings us to the next game here of the Titans at the Texans. Are your boys going to get this one done and win 2 in a row?
They should. They absolutely should win this game. So I'm going Texans. This is a week to start Stroud if you've been benching him and you want to play Dell and Nico Collins. You're obviously starting Mixon every week, and if you're not, then I question your sanity. Outside of that, Schultz is an okay play at tight end. And then with the Titans, it's pretty much Pollard and Westbrook and Kine. Those and Ridley, I guess too. But that's pretty much it on their side. I don't know if that you want to play Levis against the Texans defense, but there are crazier plays, I guess. But give me the Texans.
No, but you can start the Texans defense. So there is that possibility. And also give me the Texans in this matchup.
All right. Broncos at Raiders, Jeff.
Man, this is two of your favorite teams entering the 2024 season. And the Broncos here are on fire, whereas the Raiders seem to be treading water, trying to get a new or different offensive system in place. The Broncos should pretty handedly win this matchup, but you could go ahead and start Bo Nix. I don't really even know who to start at running back for the Broncos. Probably Javonte still, because he did perform pretty well, but it doesn't seem like they have loyalty to the guy that did well the week before. Then Cortland Sutton, of course, as well. And then for the Raiders, Brock Bowers, and that is pretty much about it. Unless you're desperate, then you can start Jacoby Myers.
All right. I'm also going Broncos in this one, and I agree with your starts in this one as well.
Man, you're picking your shiny toy versus the team that you thought would actually going to do well entering the season.
Well,
I think you had the Raiders number 2.
Wow, that wasn't saying much. I had them with a 8-9 record before the season started.
Absolutely. All right. So we hop over to the Cardinals at the Seahawks. This is probably one of the games of the week. There's probably actually the last 4 games are really good games, but so we'll start off with the Cardinals, the Seahawks. Alex, who you got and who you starting in this matchup?
Oh man, this is a tough one. Starting Kyler Murray, starting Kenneth Walker, starting James Conner, assuming everyone's healthy. Jackson Smith and Jigba, DK Metcalf. I feel like you still have to start Marvin Harrison Jr., Trey McBride. Then there's speculative dart throws, Michael Wilson and Lockett, as well as Noah Font if you need to. That's pretty much it. Geno Smith, emergency plug-in for those of you in 2 quarterback leagues, especially. But give me the Cardinals in this one.
And just because they are at home, I'm going to take the Seahawks in this matchup. So this will be our first different of the week here.
I feel like you did that just to be different, but we'll see. We'll see how that plays out.
I actually entered my picks into the site earlier today, and I swear I didn't change this one. But yeah, they both pulled off upsets in San Francisco. So this is a very evenly matched game here, from what I believe.
All right. Well, what about the Philadelphia Eagles? Are we at this one? No, sorry. The 49ers at the Packers.
You're
Sorry, I'm
trying to
looking at
throw
two
me
different
off.
screens. I'm looking at 2 different screens. Sorry. 49ers at the Packers. Who do you have in this matchup, Jeff?
Another good matchup. The 49ers backs will be against the wall, but you can go ahead and start Purdy, Christian McCaffrey, Samuel, Jennings, and Kittle if he does play. We got to keep an eye out on that one. And then on the Packers side, you can go ahead and start. You can pick any one of the wide receivers. Jaden Reed would be my top choice. Christian Watson would probably be my number 2 choice. And then Josh Jacobs. Jordan Love is still startable in fantasy leagues as well. And then Tucker Kraft as well. But in this matchup here, the 49ers backs are against the wall. And if we learned anything from last week, that means absolutely nothing when the Bengals lost to the Chargers. So I'm going to go ahead and pick the Packers here at home, and it should be a pretty cold game. And San Fran's going to have to travel into the cold.
Well, we now have two differences in a row because I'm going the 49ers. I think that they're a better team right now, and I think Brock Purdy's playing better than Jordan Love at this moment. A lot's going to depend on Kittle. If Kittle plays, that'll most likely seal the deal for San Francisco. If not, it's going to be a close game. It's probably going to be a close game either way, but I'm going San Francisco.
All right. And I disagree that Purdy and Love are one is playing better than the other right now. They both seem like they're middling quarterbacks right now. All right. So we can move on to the Eagles at the Rams. And who do you have in this one?
So, in this matchup, I am playing both quarterbacks, Hurts and Stafford. I am playing A.J. Brown. I am playing Smith. I'm playing Saquon, obviously, every week. Kyron Williams every week. Puka and Cup every week. I think, despite what the records look like, I think this is going to be a fairly close matchup. But I'm going to pick the Eagles in this one. I think that they have just a little bit more to them at this point.
Yeah, I don't disagree with you. I think this is going to be a very even matchup. The Rams' record was determined a lot when Cup and Nakua were out, and I think that's the difference there. I think they would have had 2 to 3 more wins if Nakua and Cup played all season. But I think this game is going to be very high scoring. I probably would smash the over in this game, and I am going to go the home team again here and pick the Rams.
So, all three of our differences so far, Jeff, involve the NFC West. Did you notice that?
I do. And they involve 4 o'clock or later games on Sunday.
Yeah, didn't work out for me last time, but this week will be different. And then as far as the Jordan Love versus Brock Purdy stats, Brock Purdy is better across the board so far this year than Jordan Love, and has a higher completion percentage, has more yards per attempt, has fewer turnovers. I think he's played a lot better, and obviously he's not injured on the ground. Jordan Love has been pretty immobile with his leg injuries here, and I think Purdy's been better overall. Just wanted to bring that back up, but we can.
You're just like me. Gotta have one more thought.
I think if Love was healthy, I think if it would be fairly even, to be honest with you. But we can move on to the Monday night matchup. This is a Harbaugh Bowl. So Jim coming down, or John coming down to Jim, I guess, in LA. So Ravens at the Chargers. Jeff, who are you picking in this one?
So, do you think that they're going to have Thanksgiving dinner in LA this year as a family?
I don't know about that. That would be
So-
more week 13, wouldn't it?
Yeah, but it seems like this is not coincidental that the NFL scheduled them 3 days before Thanksgiving to play against each other. Does not seem as coincidental as it came out. But in this particular matchup, I am 100% starting both quarterbacks, Justin Herbert, Lamar Jackson. I think both of them are startable for the rest of the season. You could start J.K. Dobbins in this matchup because the Ravens do not have a very daunting defense at this current time. And you could start Derrick Henry, who will have some trouble in the first half, but he will pick it up in the second half like he usually does. So I urge the Ravens, if they do want to win this matchup, to continue with Henry throughout the second half, which they did not do last week. And as far as receivers goes, I'm going right back to the well with Zay Flowers, and I am going to also start Lad McConkey, and also Quentin Johnston is a must start in a Mageddon week as well. Will Dissly also could be started, Mark Andrews and or Isaiah Likely as well. But in this particular matchup, the Chargers are kind of riding a high. Both teams get an extra day rest. But I'm expecting Khalil Mack to play in this game, so give me the Chargers in this matchup.
Well, we have yet another difference. I'm going the Ravens in this one.
Right. It's a Dobbins-Edwards revenge game.
Yeah, It's going to be interesting to see how these brothers coach these teams. I think both teams are playing fairly well. The Ravens will be another test for the Chargers defense, and I'm wondering if Herbert has enough firepower to compete with that Baltimore offense right now.
I think he does with that Baltimore defense, so I think this game will be much closer than we think, because I think the Chargers defense is much better than the Ravens defense at this exact moment in the season.
We will certainly see Monday night.
Absolutely. This will be a game that I watch from start to finish.
I love how we started off everything the same until those last four matchups, and all four matchups are different.
Yeah, it seems like the NFL put a really weak 1:00 slate, but then they're like, we want them to forget about these 1:00 matchups and load it up 4:00, 8:00, and Monday Night Football.
I mean, I assume, there's less to watch when it's afternoon football because there's fewer games, and evening games you really want people to watch. So I think they did a pretty good job of that.
Absolutely.
Okay, well, that does it for this episode of the Never Too Early Fantasy Football Podcast. Thank you for downloading and listening to this episode, and please don't forget to like and subscribe. Please leave us a comment and share the show. Every little bit helps.
You can find us on all podcasting apps by searching N2E Fantasy and with our handle at N2E Fantasy on all social media platforms. Please join our community and give us a follow. Until next time, take care of yourselves and remember, it's truly never too early for fantasy football. Thank you again.
Bye, everybody.